everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining today. My name is Carrie. My husband Dale and I are the creators of Park Seeds app, Seed to Spoon. Hopefully, you all are aware and familiar with the Seed to Spoon app. If not, you definitely need to check it out. It is a lifesaver for me, for sure. I use it every day out in the garden. Whenever we first started, we wished that there was something like that to help us out. And because we turned our entire backyard from nothing over to entirely filled with gardens. And this was over just like a couple of years. So we like definitely jumped in and like both feet dove right in. And neither one of us had really gardened much before. So we had to like, oh man, we learned so much along the way. So yeah, I'm always happy to share everything we've learned, and I love to hear everything that you all have learned too along the way with gardening. We always help each other out, so it's always a fun time. Um, it is a beautiful day here. I am in Zone 7, Oklahoma City. I was actually just outside in the garden, like right before this. I did the notorious thing of saying, I'm just going to go step outside and check on the garden really quick. And then I ended up being out there for way longer than I anticipated just because I was like, ooh, this is coming up. Ooh, this is coming up. I was really getting really excited. But anyways, I would love to hear where you all are joining from. I see, hi, Charlotte. Welcome from Daytona Beach. Oh, 83 and rainy. Ah, man, that sounds beautiful. Man. Oh, we have more. We have West Palm Beach, Florida, Massachusetts. My goodness, there's a lot of you all out there. Welcome from all the coasts, it looks like. And all the way down to West Texas. Nice. Awesome. Yes. Thank you for the call out here. Yeah, for sure. I am I know I need to say it, but like seriously though, I do use it all the time. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. And also too, I want to make sure that I mention every time you do go in and comment, if you have any questions or comments or just saying hi, you are going to be entered in to win a free 1-year premium Seed to Spoon app subscription. So woohoo, it's exciting. Um, oh, and welcome. I have somebody else from nearby here, and Lindsay. Hi, I'm in Oklahoma City, so not too far. Okay, so with the giveaway, I do a giveaway for today. So during this live stream, one of you all that's joined live is going to win at the very end. I'll do a winner. But I also, at the very end of this, like if you were not able to join us live, if you're watching this after the fact, welcome. I'm so glad you're here too. And you can still be entered in to win too. So all you need to do is just comment on that video that you're watching, and I will do a drawing at the beginning of next week. I'm here every week hanging out and chatting with y'all. And so I did that for last week. So if you missed last week, it was actually a really great, it was a really great episode. I was hanging out with Edvin from Smart Pots, and we were talking all about like small space gardening and container gardening tips and all of that. So if you missed it, definitely check it out because it was a great one, full of a lot of good information. And our after the fact winner from last week is Crimson Queen 99. So congratulations. So Crimson Queen, send me an email at info@seedtospoon.net and I'll get y'all hooked up with your free subscription. And with that subscription too, I do want to mention, so you get a lot of amazing things with the free, but with the premium, you have the unlimited plant identification and pest identification. Also, just sending out pictures to Growbot and just being like, what's wrong with my plant? Which I do quite often myself. And then you also get free shipping on all of your orders through Park Seed. You get unlimited plants that you can log through the app, all of that. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but I won't bore you all with all of that. And yeah, there's a whole lot going on. Yeah, this is exactly how I feel, Paige. Like, Robot is my best friend in the garden. As I seriously am always pulling up Growbot. I'm like, what does Growbot have to say about this? What do I do? Okay. Well, awesome. Yay. I'm so glad, Paige, that last week's was really good and helpful for you. It was helpful for me too. I love talking about all of these things too. So, okay. So, speaking of, we're going to be talking all about June today. So, it's going to be awesome. Oh, yay. Trish, you got your zinnia seeds. Oh, I love zinnia seeds. I actually, one of the things that I was outside that I got distracted about in the garden today when I went out was my zinnias because I was having, like, I had multiple zinnia blooms throughout the garden. I was like, oh, this came up. Oh, yeah, I get too excited. But, anyways, here we go. I already talked about the giveaway, so make sure that you all are staying tuned. Okay. So June, I know it's kind of a transition too for a lot of people, and because it's like a month where you can be like planting out a lot of things still, believe it or not. Like here in zone 7, I mean, I'm still planting. Like every single day I go out in the garden and I have a pack of seeds with me pretty much. And I'm always doing like throwing in a couple of extra things here and there. Like there is so much that a lot of places can still be planting out like throughout throughout the summer. So this is not the be all and end all of the list. These are just like some of the top things that I wanted to make sure that I covered. So pretty much every variety of squash is something that you can be planting out. And if you are like me, I'm doing several rounds of squash. So I have some squash that I planted like probably like a month ago now out in the garden, but I am still going out and finding new places to sneak in and put new rounds of my summer squash zucchini. And because I want to make sure that like if a squash vine borer or squash bugs or something like that come up and take one out, I'm not completely devastated. And I have another one that I can come and, I'm not completely devastated. So that's the way I try to handle things because, yeah, no matter how good of a gardener you are, you're unfortunately going to have like some losses and it's not always your fault. So don't feel bad at all if anything happens. Oh, awesome. Planted beans, watermelons, and zinnias yesterday. Nice. Yes. I'm still planting zinnias too. Literally every spare space in the garden, I'm like, ooh, I can just like toss a few zinnia seeds there. Like, especially if it's like the smaller zinnia seeds, I literally just go and throw them around. But yes, and beans, another amazing thing too, like Paige called out. Watermelons, cantaloupe, like all of those is, yeah, definitely amazing. So, I'm sorry, Desiree, saying I'm not so great at direct sowing. So, it's definitely doesn't have to be a science to go out there. A lot of things that I do out in the garden is quite literally just taking a seed packet and tossing it. Now, I do a few things that are a little bit more organized. Like beans are definitely one of them. I use what's called a seeding square for the beans just to help keep them organized. Let me see if I can find a picture of that so you know what I'm talking about. I don't have a picture handy. Okay, well, essentially the seating square is just like it's like a little square that maps out how many per square foot that you can do. Here, I can actually probably share my screen here. Here, and I'll make it bigger. There we go. Yay. Okay, and I can show you the seating square in here in the Seed to Spoon app. Yeah, right here. So this is the seating square right here. So you can see like they have like the red square, the red areas where you put some of the seeds in and all that. So things that I plant a little bit more dense, I try to use this just because it helps me like keep them a little bit more organized. They actually just came out with a seating circle too. I don't know if you all have seen that. I just tried it out though for the first time this last week. It was awesome. I was like, this is so cool. Where's this been? Because I do a lot of like smart pots, container gardening too. And so I planted out I put this circle, the seeding circle in the middle of the pot and it just went through and I was like, this makes it so much easier. But Anyways, I digress. I always do. But the seating square is super helpful for direct sewing. So if you are having trouble going through and like keeping things organized and all that, maybe try that. But also like just going through and making sure that they are staying moist while germinating. It's probably the hardest part. I know, I understand. But especially things that take a longer germination time, like things like carrots can definitely be challenging just because they do need to stay like consistently moist while germinating. But a lot of these other ones, once it gets warm enough outside and your soil temperatures, like okra, melons, squashes, like all of those, they're going to pop up pretty quick for you, which is great. Awesome. So Riley was 400 pounds of butternut squash. Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine. What did you do with all of that? Let me know what you did with all that. That's interesting. Oh man. Yeah. Sorry, I'm catching up with the yeah, so I do a lot of container growing and I do squash. I have a like even summer squash. I do things like pumpkin, cantaloupe, melons, like all of that in smart pots and I put them either along a trellis or I give them a space where they can just vine along the ground too. They do great as long as they have space to grow. They do great in them. Okay. Oh, I didn't cover sweet potatoes too yet. So sweet potatoes are still something that I actually have sitting right over there. I got them. I got them maybe like a week ago now, and a few days ago. And I opened them up, and I got them. I have them soaking in the in some water right now. So I need to go take them outside and get them transplanted out. So definitely excited for that. But sweet potato slips are the best way to go. Park Seed has a lot of amazing options for sweet potatoes, and I will say the Georgia Jets variety from Park Seed is amazing, hands down. If you guys follow me on social at all, I'm sure you have heard about my Georgia Jets experiences because they every single year I just get these massive like sweet potatoes and the kids get so excited when we're harvesting them. So I get Georgia Jets variety every single year now because they are just doing so amazing. um and then of course like I know we mentioned like zinnias and cosmos, sunflowers, even things like basil too. You can be tossing those outside and doing all of those. It's a great time right now. It's beautiful outside. So it's at least here in zone 7, it's like not too hot yet to where things will struggle, but it's like warm enough where everything's like germinating perfect. So it's like the perfect time to go outside and plant in so many places. So many places. So believe it or not, so Sonia's asking, do you trim the leaves off your slips while sprouting? So I actually just have here, I can just let me grab them. They're right here. Oh, they're right here. These are my sweet potato slips that I just got, and they're soaking in some water. You can kind of see they're developing roots, but I am quite literally like, I'm not going to do much except for just take this out and I'm going to plant it. And that's quite literally all I have to do because they sent me like these, like all rolled up into one. So it worked perfect. Like, makes it so simple. You don't have to do a whole lot of any work at all for the sweet potatoes. So I highly recommend that. Like, especially like if you're busy like me or if you're running short on time and you don't want to like go through and actually like go through and grow like from an actual soup, like that just works so fast and easy. I love it. Um, I did see. Oh, here, let me skip this one because I saw that Ted was asking, "Is there anything that you like to succession sow?" And this is a great question because I mean, I know we were just talking about this too. But if you are unfamiliar with what succession planting is, so that's essentially where you are planting out different rounds of things. at a time. So kind of like what I was talking about earlier with my zucchini. So I started like a month ago now, and I'm still going through and planting out seeds. I like to do this every couple of weeks or so for a couple different reasons. So, and with all of these, there's different reasons why I do it. So with radish, things like radish, you get a harvest in like 30 days from them. And if I plant all of my radish at once, I'm going to have like a million radish in a month, and that's it, you know? So I do want to kind of space that out a little bit. So I will be planting like half of it, you know, half of it one week and then half the next week or 2 weeks later, just so I can be harvesting them at different times. And that's very much the same as with beans, especially bush beans, where you get the majority of your beans all at once. So I like to do succession planting with beans, especially because if you plant all of your bush beans at one time, you will be harvesting all of them at once and they will tend to go bad. But I will definitely be doing new rounds. Like I do them like every week or two, especially this time of year until it gets too hot. And then whenever it comes to be a little on the warmer side, I switch over to like a southern pea. And then because that, like the black eyed peas, like those do really great in the heat of the summer. And then again, once it gets a little bit cooler, then I'll switch back to beans and then I switch over to peas. So I kind of have like something growing at all time that's in the legume family. So that's just the way that I do it all. So that way I always having something that I can harvest. So Desiree was asking, does radish continue to repel pests when they go to seed? Ooh, I imagine so, but this sounds like a question for Growbot. Let's hop in here really quick. Let's pull up Growbot in the Seed to Spoon app. Does radish continue to... Wow, I can't type at all whenever I'm talking at the same time. When it goes to seed. Let's see if I can understand. Let's see. Yeah, so however, once they go to seed, their effectiveness at repelling pests might diminish as the focus shifts to flower and seed production rather than foliage growth. Therefore, while flowering radishes might still offer some pest repelling benefits, they're generally more effective when actively growing. So there you go. I mean, that's something I didn't know. I always have to pull up Growbot if I don't. So Paige, I guess I should have pulled this question up while I was here. So when you're in the Seed to Spoon app, if you go up here to growing guides, you can type in radish and go down here to radish and it'll tell you like when you can plant it out. So you'll see like it's kind of like this pink color right here because it doesn't love the heat, but you can technically still plant it. It might struggle a little bit for you. But that being said, I do try to put it in like an area that gets like a little shaded, or I'm putting it like underneath a like squash plant because they are known to help with squash bugs and things like that. So I'm like trying to sneak them in areas where they're a little protected, a little shaded, so they don't get quite as much sun and it can last me a little bit longer. Oh, great question. Trish was asking, is there a heat tolerant lettuce? Absolutely, yes. I actually just put away my seeds. I was going to say I could have pulled out a seed packet, but because I do have lettuce on here too, because lettuce, especially leaf lettuce, is another one that I always do succession planting because I like having like different sizes of leaves. And that goes for things like spinach too and kale, like pretty much all of the greens. But a lot of these don't tolerate the heat very well. Again, so you do have to be careful, especially in the summer. If you are growing lettuce, try to extend their life by, well, first having a good heat tolerant variety, as well as giving it a little afternoon shade. So that's what I do. I have them planted like underneath my trellis area So I have like these big arch trellises. So whenever my tomatoes are growing up it's providing shade actually for underneath. So I have some lettuce and things like that growing underneath there. So far, so good. Fingers crossed for me. So a few really good heat tolerant varieties of lettuce. I know that Park Seed carries. There is a Super Jericho is a really good one, and then there's a Summer Glory blend, which is really good from Park Seed. And then the two other varieties, because I did a lot of research on this, trust me, because I want to extend the life of my lettuce too. So there was those two, and then the other two that are known for having better heat tolerance than the other lettuces is the Red Sales blend, and then also the Sandy variety from Park Seed. So those ones, and the Sandy is my personal favorite. Although I do like the Red Sales, it's really pretty too. But Sandy is my personal favorite. It is super dependable, reliable, like the best performing lettuce ever. Seriously, the best. I love it. So absolutely, give one of those a try if you want to grow some lettuce throughout the summer. I mean, I still have some packets of lettuce. I planted them. I mean, it's probably been a few weeks now, but I planted them in the shade. They're doing good so far. So, let's see. Yeah, so Riley's saying I succession plant mustard greens and cilantro. Yeah, cilantro is another great one. Um, but again, with cilantro, it's more of a cool season, so try to give it a little bit of shade if you're trying to grow it in the summer, because mine at least always bolts and goes to seed. But at least at that point, you have coriander, and it tastes really good too. But yes, those are really great ones to. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about. So I know there are some areas, especially like down south, where it might be like extremely hot already and you just are over already being outside. There are so many things you can still do inside and you don't even have to step foot outside. So there's like these specific varieties. I'm sure you all have heard of me talking about these before, but I love the kitchen mini varieties. I have several of them behind me. I have the kitchen mini tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers even and basil, like all of those. And they are actually like designed to be indoors too. They take up very small space. They're like a little 1 gallon pot, and you get so much from just one little pot. I mean, you can see how many tomatoes I have on that one back there. This one is a couple years old now at this point. And yeah, it's amazing. So I do want to mention like there are things that you can do indoors too this month, even if you like it's too hot outside, you're over it. Plant indoors. Like try that out. Seriously, it is so cool, especially over the middle of the winter time. You will be thanking yourself for planting some plants inside. It's amazing. Okay. I did see that a few people were already talking a little bit about some pests. So my husband Dale and I were on, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, and we were talking all about pest tips. So for a more in-depth conversation all about pests, go check that one out because we talked every pest, not every pest, because we did run out of time as we always tend to. But we went way in depth talking about a lot of these things. But I do want to touch base because that is a huge thing in June that you are going to be battling. So, whenever you are going out there, like one thing that I was doing when I went outside right beforehand here was I was going through and I was checking underneath every single squash plant. I was looking underneath those leaves to make sure I didn't have any squash bug eggs. Oh yeah, it gets annoying but I love squash, so I will never stop growing it just because I love it so much. But it's definitely a pain because you do need to keep up with it and make sure that you keep them under control because squash bugs are they're vicious. Squash bugs and squash vine borers, both of them. But there are things that you can do to help prevent them. So we were talking companion planting earlier. So around my squash, I have some different things. I have some dill And then I have radish around it. I'm trying to think what else I have. Basil, actually. One of my favorite things, I actually don't have it next to one yet growing, but I will at some point, is mint. Mint is an amazing companion plant too. But so far, all of my squashes are in the middle of beds, and I'm not putting mint in the middle of the bed. I have to have squash in a container so I can put some mint in a container next to it. Mint works amazing too. So definitely try that out too. If you are doing any sort of container gardening or anything like that, works great. Yeah, I definitely recommend that. And then let's see. So other things that you might need to watch out for is the tomato hornworm. They are huge. I mean, like they're huge, but I mean, that's the picture of them right there. They look so fierce and scary looking. I don't like them at all. Oh, I hate tomato hornworms, but they're just creepy. But with how large they are, they hide so well on your tomato plants. And really, the only thing that you are going to see is just suddenly your foliage from your tomato plants will start to disappear. And you'll be like, I had leaves here yesterday, didn't I? And you'll walk out and you'll see that. So you need to go through and definitely be paying attention to your plants. So that's a big part of June too, is just walking the garden, which is nice, right? And just make sure everything looks okay. You don't want like to get an over infestation of any of these tomato hornworms or squash bugs or anything like that. Um, with tomato hornworms, usually I just hand pick. They're typically easy to control that way. Now I always like wear gloves whenever I'm doing it because like they like wiggle and yeah. Anyways, I'm not a fan of them, but I just drop them. Either you can drop them into some like soapy water, or if you have chickens are super helpful for that at least, or just relocate them to another area of your garden. And Trish, this is an amazing suggestion here. So I have a black light ready to go, but I have not found any yet. Luckily, like that's great. I'm going to knock on wood as I say that. Oh, hopefully I didn't just curse myself, but I have not had any yet to test out the black light, but you guys all have sworn for it. So if you take a black light out at night, supposedly like you will find all of them. So it sounds super fun. And I'm like, I kind of want to have some out there so I can test this out. We'll see. We'll see if I get any this year. I actually didn't have a single hornworm last year, which was shocking. Again, I'm going to knock on wood as I say that. But the year before, I had my fair share of them, though. Let's see, really quick. Let me answer these. So Riley was saying, do you think I could keep cilantro and basil together indoors? Since they have different growing times, I want to be sure it would work. So if you're having them together in the same pot, I mean, just make sure that they get enough, like, enough sun. That's the biggest thing, is to make sure like one doesn't shade out the other. Like that would be my only concern. But I mean, if you do have the ability to get like little miniature pots and containers, like that way you can keep them a little bit separated and just make sure they have plenty of space. Sonny was saying, have you ever done a soil drenched to containers for beetles and or June bugs? So I'm not sure what soil drench you're talking about, but I have done. So for June bugs, I've done here. Let me pull it up. What's called milky spore, and it's right here. So you can find this at Park Seed. So I go through. You can lay this down in like the fall time, and it's supposed to help like over the summer or over the winter for Japanese beetles, like their grubs areas. So this is again like this is an organic thing. I don't ever do any sort of like chemicals or anything like that. But this is really just like a bacteria that goes in and it infects the Japanese beetles. So, and it will just target those Japanese beetles. So I have done that in the past. I haven't done it recently because I haven't had a huge issue, but we did that before a few years back. Hey, maybe that's why we don't have a huge issue because it worked. But yeah, it worked really good. Oh, Riley was saying, yeah, that's nice. She did a pepper spray last year and worked really well. And I have a pot of mint for moving where needed. That's awesome. Yeah, that is perfect. Yeah. I can never have enough mint around because it works for everything, I feel like. It will repel anything from mice to yeah, to all of the dreaded squash bugs, like all of it. Mint is amazing. I'm a huge fan until it takes over your entire garden, right? Let's see. So, oh, cucumber beetles. We haven't talked cucumber beetles real quick. So the main issue with cucumber beetles, so that's what these things are right here. These yellow beetles looks like a yellow ladybug, but it is not a yellow ladybug. It is a cucumber beetle. These are aptly named because they go after cucumbers. And the biggest tip that I would have for these is actually, I think I can pull up. Yeah, here we go. It's these things right here that I use for cucumber beetles. So Parkseed has these like little yellow sticky traps that I can put like right next to my cucumber vines, and I just hang it right there on the trellis, like intermixed with it. People always freak out too about beneficials on this, but over the like almost 10 years that I've used them, the most beneficial thing that I've ever caught on there is a fly. I mean, I don't like I don't like typically like put them up super high too, so like birds and butterflies won't. I'm putting it more like intermixed with the foliage, so I am getting more of like I'm getting like mealy bugs, I'm getting the aphids even, and like spider mites, like you name it, like it will collect all of those things right there, and cucumber beetles. So that's definitely something that I have done a lot in the past, especially when I start seeing them. So cucumber beetles themselves like aren't super like rough, but they can spread disease. So that's the biggest reason why you want to control them. They're not going to do a whole lot of harm to your foliage. They might eat a little bit, but the biggest issue though is that they do spread like the cucumber mosaic virus. So you don't want these guys around your cucumber plants. So if you see these guys, try to make sure you're getting rid of them. And then, of course, like in the middle, I had to put my beautiful picture of a ladybug going through and just devouring aphids, because that is my biggest tip too, is to get nature to work for you this summer. So you don't have to be going out there and doing all of the like hand picking of bugs and things like that. Let nature try to do it all. And I encourage, like I try to get ladybugs in the garden. Like I plant a lot of things to try to attract them. They love things like dill, and they love dill, fennel, marigold, all of those. Like there's so many things you can plant to attract the good bugs in to try to do your dirty work, which is great. And that's a big thing too for like the tomato hornworm. Is there's these predatory wasps that will go through and handle them for you too. So anything you can do to get those good guys working for you is amazing. Yeah. Oh, this is a great point. So Trish was saying that is why I like the Seed to Spoon app. I took a picture of what I thought was a bad bug, but it was a ladybug larva. If I did not have the app, I would have removed it from my plants. Yeah, yeah. So ladybug larva looks so weird. I'm glad that you said that. I wish I had a picture again to pop up. I did at one point. I think it's yeah. I don't think I have it anymore. But yeah, ladybug larva is like alligator looking is like the best thing I can explain it as. It looks like a little like black and red alligator ish. Like it's very weird, but they are voracious eaters of aphids. They absolutely love aphids and are just go through and power eat all of them. So seriously, like ladybug larva's the best. So I'm so glad that Growbot helped you out with that. Yes, I agree so much. I love ladybugs, and like even wasps and spiders and like all of like the creepy crawlers. Like I have learned over the time of gardening, it is very interesting because like if I could like tell myself in the past, like if I would go back in time and tell me as a kid, like, hey, you're gonna love to see wasps out in the garden and all that, I would never have agreed. Like I would have been like, nah. But it's interesting because you learn because these things just help you so much in the garden. It's like I'm like, yes, I see a wasp. I'm so excited. Yes, I see a bee. Great, come on more. You know, it's yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. Heather was saying, "What is your opinion on using cedar wood chips for mulch to help with bug control?" Yes, absolutely. Like this is something that I've heard being done quite often too. So it'll work for some things. It's not going to work for everything, but I mean it's better than nothing, right? Um, I'm all for it. I mean, mulch in itself too is hugely beneficial. So if you're going to be laying down mulch, you might as well do some cedar to help. So. Praying mantis versus ladybugs or other pest control insects, which would be better? So it's interesting because they are like they do different things out in the garden, and I think there's a place for everybody. And I would say both because they both do different and unique things. The ladybugs are more for like the soft-bodied insects, so like the aphids. They'll even go after like small like spider mites and things like that, versus like the praying mantis who will go after like the larger pests too for you. But unfortunately praying mantis can take out some good ones too. So personally I love ladybugs a little bit more, but praying mantis definitely will help in the garden too, especially with those bigger pests. Yes, for sure. The pests will sneak up on you. So for yeah, so Todd, it's so funny that you say this. Being able to identify all the different insects. The first year that Growbot came out, was it like a year or two ago? I literally did nothing else. I just went out in the garden. I was like, "Ooh, what's this? What's this? What's this? What's this?" And it was so fun because I was finding all of these like new things, and it like actually had me like looking even hard. I was like, "What is this?" So it was just so fun, and it's yeah, it was interesting. Let's see. Oh man, she's saying my biggest pets currently are bunnies. Okay, yeah, that's nothing that our beneficials are going to help with. Um, the biggest thing I can say about rabbits is either I mean, honestly, like a wire mesh or something along those lines. But a motion activated sprinkler is probably going to be the best if you don't have like a good like protection around your garden. It will work really well. Also, things like blood meal works really good because they don't like that. Or if like you cut your hair at home or anything like that, like lay it around too. Things like that are supposed to scare little ones off like that. But honestly, my biggest recommendation is the motion activated sprinkler. Works amazing for like the smaller pests like this, as well as things even like deer, cats. I mean, all of that works really good. Okay, let's talk a little bit about watering. Um, so, weeding and watering, the two W's, are definitely things to keep up with in June too, because we talked about like how June is definitely something that like the temperatures are increasing. And if you do not stay on top of your weeding, it's going to be a nightmare for you. And trust me, I speak from experience here. And I think this happens to me every year. There's at least one corner of the garden that I feel like gets taken over by weeds at some point. But I am trying my very hardest this year to keep up with it. And hopefully you all will too. But yeah, keeping the weeds under control like right now is huge for you before they start spreading and taking over. So make sure that you are like, whenever you go out there and you are like taking care of your plants and checking for pests and all that, if you see a weed, just boop, pop it up. You can do it. Aw, thanks, Paige. Yeah, I love this picture too. That's so this picture is actually like I still use this picture to this day just because it's so cute, but he is now 9 years old. So this is my oldest boy. But yeah, this was back like in our old house, like yeah, it's cute. But my now 2 year old has the same outfit though, so I could recreate this picture. um but yeah, so with watering, it is again, so that's something that I want to mention too, because it is important too with the temperatures going up, and that you make sure that you are making sure that your plants are being watered and taken care of. So there's a few different things that you can do. First of all, I do want to say watered is best. So if you have no other ability except to pop a sprinkler in the garden and do that, by all means do it, because watered is best, right? Like I feel like that's just water your plants. So if that's all you can do, do it. But there are obviously like there are better ways to do it. If you are going to do like overhead watering or anything like that, just make sure to do it like in the morning instead of over like in the evening or afternoon, even because the afternoon time, if you water, a lot of it's just going to evaporate away. You can also burn your plants too if like it does the shock, like it just doesn't really do great. And again, like yeah. So, Chris, it really just depends on the temperatures too. Like, if it's not like super duper hot, I'm sure it's fine. The biggest issue is like you don't want it to just all go to waste and be like completely evaporated and gone. It's going to get the most benefit by watering like first thing in the morning. And I always try to avoid doing any sort of overhead watering at night or close to the evening as well too, because that's when you have risk. Like whenever it gets overnight, like it doesn't dry as fast on the leaves, so you'll start getting what's called powdery mildew, and you want to avoid that. But that's an easy way to prevent it, is by watering in the morning instead of the evening. So yeah, so Trish, I absolutely agree. Irrigation, like if you can set it up, like that is going to be number one to do and key. You don't have to go out there and hand water everything, especially when it gets to be like super hot out. So this is the perfect time to go out because like at least for me right now, it's mid 80s. It's beautiful outside. We can go out there and install some irrigation. Like that's what you want to do, right? Um so we do this. We have a few different things that we've tried and we've done in the past, but we do always tend to come back to this method right here. And we have these currently being built in our garden right now too. We're taking so this is a one of my old pictures from obviously yeah I said that earlier, but I have the same setup going right now too in my garden that was pieced together from our old house. So I took all these same pieces, moved it right back to our new garden. Um, it works amazing. So this is just a simple PVC pipe with some PVC fittings. We drilled a few holes on the side of it and it got like a little hose attachment for it. And when we run the hose, we just connected the hose up to this PVC pipe and it just pops out. Like it is amazing. It's perfect at, especially if you are seed starting, can keep your seeds moist and all of that. Like it's super handy, very helpful to have. And I don't have to worry about my plants at all, really. So I highly recommend that. Like we have several videos too on our YouTube channel of Dale walking through like exactly how we built it and what we did and all of that. So um, oh yeah, Desiree said that she uses a PVC system. Yeah, it is super super easy to set up. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay, and then fertilizing is another key thing that you want to make sure that you're doing in June. So, especially your heavy feeders. So, things like your tomatoes and peppers and eggplant, and like those are my main ones that I'm always like every single like 3 weeks, I'm out there with my tomato tone espoma fertilizer. Yeah, that is just one thing that I will always do. Even my indoor tomatoes, like all of them, they always get this espoma tomato tone. I am a huge fan of it. Let me see if I can pull it up. Do-do-do. Wow, I don't have the espoma tomato tone. I have other espoma on here, but yeah. Okay, well, all of the Espoma products at Park Seed are definitely like worth using. There's also a garden tone that I use quite often too. That's just a basic one-off fertilizer that's great for all of them. Um, they have all sorts of specialty Espoma fertilizers. Um, Really, the main fertilizers that I use are this tomato tone and the garden tone. Those are my top ones that I always do. And all I do is just simply take just like a handful of this, I work it into the top of the soil and water it in. And that is as easy as it is. I don't do anything special. I don't have to do anything. Like it is super, super simple. Let's see. Trish was asking, do you use liquid fertilizer with the granular fertilizer? Actually, I don't. So I actually I mean, I do start with like a really good soil mix that has like a bunch of compost and things like that in it. So I feel like I start with a good one. And then whenever I transplant the tomatoes out, I put a little bit of the Espoma fertilizer in it and I just stay on top of it. So every few weeks, I just do another little bit of fertilizer. So it just keeps going in. So I don't have to do any sort of liquid or anything like that. So this honestly sounds like a fertilizer issue to me. So saying my tomatoes keep getting yellowed leaves no matter how much or how little water I give them. Yeah, so it's probably a fertilizer issue. So give them some nitrogen is probably what they're lacking. But this Espoma tomato tone will really help a lot if you start now. Like add some fertilizer to it. That's probably what's going on. Anytime I see any sort of like tomato or pepper or anything like that that's starting to turn yellow, I'm like, I need to go fertilize. So it's always a key. I saw this question about the watering real quick. So Chris was asking, how often do you water? Um, it really depends for me. Again, on the heat and the temperatures and all of that. Um, right now, I'm pretty much watering probably like every other day out in the garden. Um, and when I do that, like I mean, I'm pretty much soaking it. Like I'm watering it pretty good, and then I'm letting it dry out completely, and then coming back and watering it. So that way, like I'm trying to build up the roots a little bit and make them go down a little bit more. But more whenever it gets to the heat of the summer, because we can get some 100-degree days here. I would be doing it every day then. But right now, I'm doing it like every other day or so. Actually, this last week was great because I only had to water like maybe once because we kept getting rain, and I was like, "This is perfect." It was great. Um, okay, so plant support. If you have not already gotten some sort of support system going for your tomatoes, definitely get it soon because even those smaller bush tomatoes are going to need some sort of support. I am a huge fan of these square plant tomato cages. These are so amazing. I got these from Park Seed, and I was blown away with how like durable they are because I'm so used to before I tried these out, those little circle ones, I put them on there, they always broke no matter what, or they would fall over and I'd be like, I'd have this like tomato plant like Oh yeah, it was not good at all. But these hold so much weight. Like, trust me, I've put them to the test. I've even put them through goat tests because I had the goats go through like at the end of last season to help clean out the garden at the end, and it stood up to them. But what I love the most too, besides like how sturdy these are, is they actually like at the end of the season I can pick them up and they fold flat for storage, which is amazing. So like, yeah. So I can't say enough good things about it. But over here too, for like vining tomatoes and things like that, I always do like I have a bunch of different like cattle panel trellises set up and things like that. Works really well for me. I have some arch trellises and things like that. I also have some cattle panels just sitting on their side. Let me see if I have any sort of like recent picture. Oh yeah, here's one. So this is of like one of the cattle panels I have just sitting on its side. I have some T-posts in the ground, then a cattle panel just propped up against it. And I can grow so many different things. Like this picture right here is showing some peas on there, but I've grown peas, beans, melons, cucumbers, tomatoes. I mean, you name it there. So it's just a really good like be all and end all trellis that just works so easy. Yeah. Yeah, Paige, I feel you. So those flimsy little round supports. Yeah. Well, I will say they're not worthless. If you do find a good deal, they work great for peppers. So they do have a use for me in the garden. I use them for peppers, like my huge peppers that I grow. I put some of those because they will. So far, I mean, they have like if they blow over with a pepper, it's not as big a deal if they blow over with a tomato plant. But um, yeah, but now like because I have a few left over, I'm like I'll just use these for my pepper plants. Works good for that. Okay, here, really quick. Grape Martin was asking, I find it so tough to find the right fertilizer because of the intercropping. Should I stick to a balanced fertilizer? I understand. Yeah. Um, I mean, that definitely can make it easy just doing like a Espoma garden tone, which is a really good, just balanced fertilizer, works pretty much for everything. So that could be really easy for you. But I mean, honestly, with that like Espoma tomato tone, I mean, I'm just going at the base of the plant and doing that. So, I mean, it depends on how much work I guess you want to put into it also. But yeah, a balanced fertilizer would absolutely be better. Would work good for you. Okay, so let's talk real quick about pruning. So I just put out a video actually on Sunday of me out in the garden showing like the different ways that you can prune. And I do want to say, like, there really is no right or wrong way to prune tomatoes. And honestly, you don't even technically have to. So that being said, like, you don't have to prune your tomatoes. There are benefits, there are pros and cons to both ways, pros and cons to different types of pruning. So, like, and honestly it kind of depends again too on like the varieties that you are growing of tomatoes, your location that you are in, and what your goal is on the tomatoes. Do you want really large tomatoes? Do you want a more amount of tomatoes? Yeah, so that being said, there's really no right or wrong way to prune tomatoes. And some people opt to just have tomatoes growing wild, and if you have the support system for that, wonderful. Like, by all means. Um, there are a few different ways. So I have this tomato plant over here labeled with 1, 2, and 3. Make it easier for you. So number 1 is the main stem, and 2 is what's called a sucker, and then 3 is one of the branches coming off of it. So the main thing that I'm sure that all of you have heard of is pruning and taking off those suckers, removing suckers. So that's the number 2. And it is something that will help also to have the plant focus more on that main stem, and it will grow you larger tomatoes. You will have more airflow through the plant. So that means less risk of diseases, things like that. Um, So lots of benefits to going through and pruning some of the suckers off. There is a lesser known method of pruning, which is actually keeping number two and pruning off number three, that lower branch area right there. So, that if you do that, you are letting number two grow up and it will create some more tomatoes for you. But those tomatoes on number one and two are going to be a little bit smaller because that main stem is focusing on both areas instead of just the one. So, it is going to be a lot more tomatoes, but they will most likely be smaller tomatoes too. But it also does help too with airflow and things like that too, because you're pruning off some of the extra foliage and things like that. So, um, like I said, there's so many different ways to prune tomatoes, and there's a lot of benefits to different ways. So, yeah, that's just the overall like yeah, that was the quick overview of pruning. And to prune or not to prune, that is the question. So for me, I kind of do a mixture, honestly. And it depends too. Like for my cherry tomatoes, I kind of do like the method of taking off number three and letting one and two grow. But that being said, like I don't always religiously go out there and prune because I did that like the first year that we grew tomatoes. Like we were out there pruning like every single day. Like we are like, oh, you can't grow, you can't grow. And then it ended up dying off in the summer because it got too hot. So, kind of the benefit of letting some of them go is that you have a lot more like shade protection for that tomato plant because it doesn't love like the super hot 100-degree temperatures. Like it can actually benefit from a little bit of shade and some protection in the heat of the summer. So, yeah, like I said, there's a lot of different ways to do it, but I usually do a mixture of all of them myself. So, really just kind of depends. And then the big thing I did want to mention also is for basil. Whenever, because I have a lot of basil growing right now, and a lot of it is like going to flower. So you'll see like the little things coming up. Just make sure you're going off and pinching those off. It will help to create a more like bushy plant, so it will grow larger for you, but it'll also keep growing for you because whenever you have the going to seed, it's going to signify that it's done for the year. So if you let it just sit there and do that, then it's not going to grow anymore for you, really. So just make sure you're staying on top of that. I usually let them go whenever it starts to hit like August, September, October time. It just kind of depends on the weather. But I do let them go to seed and flower because the pollinators absolutely love it too. So yeah. Okay. That was a great conversation, you guys. I feel like we had a lot of really great questions from you all. I loved it. Um, okay, so if you all have any other questions, feel free to pop them in the chat, and I'm going to go through and draw a winner here from our chat. Give me a minute. This is always hard whenever I'm alone. Give me a minute here. Sorry. Sorry, guys. I'm pulling up a winner. So this person is going to win a free 1-year premium Seed to Spoon app subscription. And I recognize this name. Okay. Congratulations to Peonies and Pinks. Congratulations. You have won a free premium Seed to Spoon app subscription. So send me an email at info@seedtospoon.net and I'll get you all hooked up. Congratulations. And like I said too, if you're watching this after the fact, or if you are in the chat right now and you did not win, but you really want to, once this posts, go back in, leave a comment so that way you get entered in to win over the week. And then I will draw a name just like I did at the very beginning of today, next Tuesday. So awesome. Well, thank you all so much for joining today. This was a super fun day. And I love talking all about June. Like there's so much to do, like so much to talk about, I feel like. So if you all have any other questions, please let me know. You can pop them in the comments, or I mean, I'm on all the social channels like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all of them. So yeah, feel free to reach out, and I will talk to you all again next Tuesday. Same time, same place. Hope to see y'all there. Bye.